Baruch Hashem, you're a bad Jew.
Shalom.
Hey, it's you. Welcome back to another episode of Bad Jew, the place where there is no such thing as a bad Jew. With me today is Shoshanna from My So-Called Jewish Life. Shoshanna, I've been such a fan of your Instagram and TikTok account forever. How have you been? It's so great to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you. I've been really good. It's been interesting through these challenging times. I find myself on a roller coaster of emotions, a daily roller coaster of emotions, and trying to ground myself as a Jew, as a human being, and find a little peace in this insane moment of our nation's history.
And I think that you've perfectly illustrated how so many feel, that we've all been on this roller coaster trying to, wrap our brain around this really difficult time. And it's been tough. It's been tough.
Right.
And yet there's also been glimmers of light as well. We've had hostages returned, not all of them, but some of them, which is a good start. And I think as well, it's been an opportunity to connect with the community and bond a lot more. We have a really interesting topic on today's podcast that pertains to community building for sure. Before we get into that, Shoshana, we have the right of entry onto this podcast, the 4-minute Bad Jew Challenge, where you tell your life story in 4 minutes. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Excellent. Echad, Daim, Shalosh, Yalla.
Hi, everyone. My name is Shoshanna, and my handle is My So-Called Jewish Life. And my life story in 4 minutes is, okay, let's see if we can pack it in. I was born into a Chabad family, very Orthodox, super Orthodox Chabad family. My father wore the black bekisha, my mother wore a wig. My mother, in fact, is a convert. She converted into Judaism through Chabad. My father is a Baal Tshuva, so I had a dynamic household filled with interesting things that you wouldn't find in a very Orthodox home, a dog, maybe TV, some music. I knew what the Doors was, when I was a kid, and most kids did not, or have a TV. So I definitely was exposed to a lot of interesting stuff from my parents' background, and exposed to Chassidut, which Chabad is known for. And when I was 15, my parents got divorced, and I went through a really, really dark time. My mother ended up addicted on drugs, and it was a really, really challenging time. I was on my own from 15 till about 18, working, figuring life out, so I've been to the School of Hard Knocks and back and a couple of times. And I very cherish my experiences because it's made me the person that I am today, and able to share some of my love for Judaism So back to 15 on my own. I moved to Israel when I was 18. I studied in Tzfat. Tzfat has my heart. I love Tzfat. It's like this most beautiful, magical place. And I was there for about a year and a half. And then I started fashion school in Tel Aviv, which is another part of my love and passion. And I was there for about a year and a half, and transferred to FIT in New York and finished there my degree of fashion merchandising management. And I love living in New York. New York is a dynamic, wonderful place. It was hard to leave Israel. I love Israel. I love being there. I will be there once again one day. Where are we at? What's our time?
Oh, we're at 1 minute and 50 seconds.
Oh, wow. Okay. So we're good. I have another 2 minutes to get through the other half of my life. So when I was about 23, very Orthodox. I married another very Orthodox person, and it ended up being a very challenging, abusive relationship, and one that I had 2 children in, and it was very challenging to get out of in the Orthodox community, getting my get, getting divorced, getting the support, which is we could spend a whole podcast on any of these topics. So that challenging, getting through that in my life, and getting out of that, and still keeping love for Judaism and love for our community and our nation, while feeling a little bit abandoned by these experiences and not understanding my purpose, having these experiences. And since then, I have 3 children. I have 2 boys, a 19-year-old, a 15-year-old, and I have a beautiful 4-year-old little girl. I am remarried to a wonderful Sephardic man from Morocco, and I'm learning so much about Sephardic culture, and it's amazing what a beautiful, beautiful, rich culture they have. And the combination of the Chabad culture and the Sephardic, I really have a very rich, vibrant Jewish life. I love my Jewishness. I love being Jewish. And I'm also an artist, and my art and all of my experiences has led me to paint this art that I feel is very meaningful and spiritual and deep. And I can't wait to start sharing more of it on my page and with everyone. And one of my biggest passions is the Ki Tov Project, which is Ki Tov is when Hashem created the world and he finished creating certain aspects, he said Ki Tov, and he said that it was good. And the lesson that we learned from that, and I could go into it, but the lesson we learned from that is that everything is actually essentially good. There is no bad. Even if we may perceive it or experience it physically to be bad, it's not really bad. So the Keto Project is something I'm super passionate about. And that, brings us to where we are now. And I'm working in Hebrew Academy, working with the kids, bringing the Keto Project into schools around Miami, hopefully worldwide. And so that's basically my journey.
I love that. And thank you so much for being vulnerable. It's not easy for everyone to be vulnerable on the 4-minute Bad Jew challenge, but you did it. And that, from that turmoil, from that stress, from that really difficult, childhood that you created, you were still able to create this wonderful project about positivity. I left the banner on YouTube on the bottom there for creating positivity to engage with the Ki Tov Project. And I love that theme. I really didn't know about what Ki Tov was until you said it. I'm curious, and this is not what the podcast is about, but I just have to ask a little side tangent question.
Yeah.
The concept of Ki Tov, what inspired the phrase Gam Ze Latov, this too is for the good?
So I'm not sure. It's a really good question. And now I'm totally going to look it up. So I'm not sure, but it is that concept of like that Hashem loves us. He created the world with love and compassion and kindness. And even though there is judgment in the world, and even though there are, square things in the world and certainty about certain functions of the world, but essentially it was created with love and compassion, and that everything that we experience is for our benefit. It's for our best. And instead of
Wow.
being victims to our experience, we can be creators of our experience and accept like, oh wait, this is happening for my best. This is for my benefit. And that attitude, that mindset is a beautiful Jewish concept of positivity and being besimcha and being happy with what we have, happy in the moment, being present. And then the Keto Project is all about that, like let's be present, let's be here, let's be grateful for what is, even if what is uncomfortable.
Beautifully said. And I really appreciate you being realistic about the answer and acknowledging the discomfort that comes with happiness that is
Oh yeah.
required in order to achieve happiness. I think that's
Oh
such
yeah.
an important theme. We did an episode a long while ago with a woman named Rachel Dadbin. How do Jews do happiness? That was an episode that we did. And we talked a lot about that theme. So I very much
I
resonate
tell the
with.
kids, and it goes over and over in my head. We need
Yeah,
to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. The key
there
to
we go.
success at life is being comfortable with being uncomfortable. If I could be uncomfortable and comfortable in my skin with being uncomfortable and not being able to manage I'm a superhero. I got it. I'm in that place of toward equanimity. This idea of equanimity is this beautiful Kabbalistic concept of mind, body, soul being in sync. But you have to be in control of the experience and what's coming at you in order to have an equanimity. Like if you're not in a good space, if you're negative and everything that comes at you is negative and everything that you experience is negative and this victimhood is just there's no way you're connecting with Hashem. There's no way that you're feeling the way that your neshama is supposed to feel. Like we're supposed to live in a way that our neshamas feel good, not our bodies, our neshamas. Like, so you have to live in that way. So how do you get there? By mastering mind and body.
Wow. Wow. Well said. That in itself needs to be its own podcast episodes. Consider this an invitation to a future episode where we talk about
Thank
this.
you.
I'm very excited
Thank
by
you.
that concept. I want to learn more about that. But
Thank you.
Shoshana, the episode topic of today is how can we, the individual, fight this war? And this is an important question right now because what I've been seeing personally, and I'm sure you've been seeing it too. I have a lot of friends, Israeli and not Israeli, who feel helpless, who feel like they are incapable of being able to do anything to fight this war. Some people have been, trying to take up prayer. And, it kind of goes back to that expression that there's an expression in Judaism, which is pray as if there is a God, act as if there is no God. And they feel like the acting part is not there. But from what I understand, you have put a lot of action into what is happening, and you are in a way fighting this war. And I'd love to learn, what are you doing to fight this war, and how can an individual anywhere in the world, not just in America, not just on the East Coast in New York, how can they fight this war?
Yeah, that's such an important question. It's something that like we have to keep talking about and keep sharing because people do at times feel despondent and they feel like helpless and it's scary. We are a small nation, very few. There's less than 15 million of us against billions of people that have this negative, very negative, hateful perception of us and are paying to spread lies throughout universities and campuses. So it's really, it seems overwhelming. It seems scary. So you could be like, wow. So when I was a kid growing up in Chabad, we had this concept called Tzivas Hashem, the army of Hashem. And I belonged to this group and we would do Torah and mitzvos and we would engage in small acts of Torah, small mitzvos, kindness, ahavat Yisrael, things like that, loving one another. And the Ki Tov Project is also part of this, like looking for Hashem's goodness. So this idea of like that we are all Tzivat Hashem, we are all Chayalim, we are all part of this together. Like we are in this together. So you need soldiers to fight on one end, and then you need soldiers to fight on the other end, of the physical end to protect us, to physically protect us from the physical harm. But there's also a spiritual harm at play here. There's a lot of negativity and all of this information, all this negativity that's being pointed at the Jews, these words, the hate messages, it creates vibrations, negative vibrations, low negative vibration, but it does create an energy, an energetic field. And we have to combat that by creating positive energetic fields. And how do we do that? By actually showing each other compassion, being understanding, and even if it's the person in the grocery store, like just being nice to everyone, making a Kiddush Hashem, sanctifying God's name, that we are Jews and we are held to a higher standard by the world. Obviously, they are holding us to a higher standard. So we have to raise our spiritual vibrations, raise the energy. If you know one parak of Tehillim, you can even say Tehillim in English or in Spanish, whatever language you know. It doesn't matter. The vibrations and the energy that comes from saying Psalms, from saying Tehillim is amazing. Like it's really impactful. Joining a charity. There's this organization called Daily Giving. It's this incredible organization, dailygiving.com. You should have him on. He's amazing. And he created this tzedakah fund to create a space where people who couldn't give tens of thousands of dollars were included in a mitzvah of tens of thousands of dollars. So basically you give $1 a day. So it's $30 a month. And it's pooled into now, I think they're up to over $18,000 a day. So your dollar is as if you're giving $18,000 a day to these amazing organizations, like something like that, a small thing that you could do that really makes a massive impact and raises all of the spiritual vibrations that are not in, because we have to raise above where they are, if they go low, we go higher kind of thing. So not by combating the stupidity online, because we have beautiful people that can do that, but by behind the scenes, doing things with each other, getting together and learning Torah, or even getting together and being happy, b'simcha, like in the name of Hashem. I had in our annual Hanukkah party this year, instead of doing like the usual, like just hanging out, we did mitzvahs. I taught everyone how to tie a tzitzit, and that's a very big mitzvah, and a mitzvah that you wouldn't normally do. We had a bracha party, so we made a bracha on every single bracha that you can make. Was great. There's so many mitzvahs that we could do. The fact that people disregard this idea of ahavas Yisrael, how powerful that is, of accepting one another in this very gracious, compassionate way, the way that God and Hashem, he accepts us in the most gracious and compassionate way. He wants us to do the same for each and every Jew. It doesn't matter how Jews serve Hashem. That is their business. It's my relationship with Hashem, and it's not of me to judge how other people have a relationship with Hashem or serve. It's for me to be kind, compassionate, and be an example. If I want to be an example, then I need to be the example. I can't expect other people to do something that I am not representing. And if I want compassion, I have to show compassion. That is the biggest thing for us. Like as soon as this thing happened and all the hate that was going on all over the world, and that stopped, that energy that broke, like we need to continue that unity, that after. It's so important, like You come across a Jew that looks a little different than you, no big deal. Ain't no thing.
You know, I'm very moved by the idea of if you want to receive compassion, you got to give compassion. I think
Yeah.
that's absolutely pertinent and absolutely true for just in general how the world works and how human beings interact with each other. I want to learn a little bit more about vibrations in a second because I've heard that expression and I think everyone in the world has heard the expression vibration, but we don't actually know what it means. I want to learn what
Yeah.
that means. But the biggest thing I want to say that piggybacks off of what you just said is these acts of compassion that we can do for each other and also for the non-Jewish outside world and the secular world or just for Gentiles in general,
Yeah.
right? I think there's it's a beautiful idea. And to piggyback off of it, in doing so, we need to show our Jewishness as well. And I started wearing my yarmulke just over a year ago. And I was wearing it every single day since my third Israel trip, as many of the listeners on this podcast know.
Yeah.
And it's been a big life-changing experience for me. But there's only been one period of time where I really didn't feel safe wearing my yarmulke, and that was when I traveled to San Francisco the week after Hamas launched their
Mm.
attack. I took my kippah off because I was going to a very politically charged progressive city, and
Mm.
I wasn't sure what might happen. I even saw someone get assaulted on the bus in San Francisco. So I definitely was glad that I didn't wear my kippah in that time because it's more important to be safe and live another day than
Yeah.
to put yourself at risk.
100%.
However, if you are in a safe place, I think these acts of compassion that lead to simcha, as you've described, that lead to happiness, as you
Yeah.
described, I think you should, if you're a man, wear your kippah. And I know people that have in this time have used this as a Jewish awakening, an identity awakening,
Yeah.
and it's been beautiful. And I also think for the women as well, that there are symbols that they can have, whether it's a necklace with the Hebrew on it, or more modest clothing, or whatever it is that makes you feel most Jewish.
Yeah.
That your acts of compassion while representing your people
You know what
couldn't be
makes
more
me feel so Jewish? What makes you feel the most Jewish? I'm gonna tell you what makes me feel the most Jewish. When
sure.
you're out in public, what makes you such a good question. What makes you feel the most Jewish?
You're asking me
Yeah, yeah.
what makes me feel most Jewish in public. It's so funny. I mean, I think there are acts of service, right? Whenever you do complete a mitzvah. Like I one time had a spare shirt I didn't want anymore. So I actually intentionally drove out to Santa Monica here in Los Angeles. And I found a
Mm.
homeless man and I gave him the shirt. I didn't want to go through the organization. I just wanted to go right to him. I felt very Jewish doing that.
Yeah.
The other thing that makes me feel most Jewish is when I go to like a Jewish restaurant, which is really funny. When I go to a Jewish restaurant and enjoy like some kosher food with some friends, and that's always a good Jewish feeling. That's what makes
Yeah.
me most Jewish in public. How about you?
Yeah. I would agree with the first one. When I am acting like the Jewish queen that I am, in public, and I'm representing Hashem and I'm representing the Jewish people and this beautiful nation of ours well by those acts of compassion and service and kindness to all the people that I come in contact with, that to me, I'm like, yes, this is I like, even if they are not sure if I'm Jewish or not, or that I know that I left them with good energy and I left them with a smile and with compassion, and I make eye contact, and I am kind, and I'm ask, and I'm there, I'm present, like, just because I may live on another planet sometimes. So, because spirituality could take you kind of away, like, doesn't mean that people who don't get to experience that don't deserve that humanity. Everyone deserves to be seen and understood. And even if it's for 3 seconds, I that makes me feel the most Jewish. I love doing that.
Love it. I love that. But speaking of, those positive acts, essentially the DACA in action, right? You described something earlier and I wanted to get back to it. Vibrations. What exactly is a vibration? What does that mean exactly?
So we are more energy than we are physical. Your energy. So I ask my student this. I'll ask you this. Do you have an neshama,
Yeah.
or are you a neshama?
I guess it has a lot more meaning when you say, are you a neshama? Are you a soul?
That's who you are. the body's just a vehicle. The body's just a means to an end. The neshama is eternal. The neshama is a part of God. So that is the essence of you. Now, is it contained in your body, this neshama, or is it surrounding you?
I don't know. I don't know how to
It's
answer that.
surrounding you. You have an aura, you have an energy field. And the more holy, for lack of a better word, I don't really like that word, but holy life you live or more spiritual life you live, the greater the aura, the stronger the energy. You meet really pious people, holy people, and you're like, wow, this person's energy is amazing. Or like you could tell that they're holy or their face is glowing, or, you can kind of like tap into like for a second, you're like, wow, there's something I can't understand or feel about this person, but it exists.
Yeah.
And I guess people who are really tapped into that can really see your energy. And actually, I don't know if it's proven or not, but on my page, I actually posted a video of this scientist in Israel who says that when you do mitzvos, your glow changes and you can change and see the glow around you. And when you blow the shofar and when you make brachos and when you put tefillin on, like you can actually see the change in the energy around you. So having said that, Kabbalah also reinforces this idea. And we are more, the neshama is an energetic thing. Like everything is made up of energy. The whole world is made of everything, plants, there's energy in everything. That has been proven, right? So like scientifically, it's been proven that there is energy there. So they cannot define in the end what that energy is. But you and I both know what that is. That's Hashem. That's
I-
the thing that we can't put our finger on because he is so present in everything because he created everything. But the same way that there are like levels, the light is constricted, and you can't see it unless you're looking for it. You cannot see this energy unless you're focused on this idea of vibrations and energy and elevating and even some very religious people don't even subscribe to it. They're just like, we're just gonna do Torah mitzvos and we're just gonna not even like get into the Kabbalistic part of things. But I believe that Kabbalah is necessary. My seeing on how Kabbalah explains things is that Torah, mitzvos, it's an outside thing, an outside journey. Kabbalah, it's an inward journey. Kabbalah is going to teach you how to master mind, body, soul, so you have that equanimity so that you can perform the Torah and mitzvos at a very high level. But there's levels to it. It's a beautiful, you know. So, so when we do a mitzvah, like the Torah tells us, right, we're wrapping tefillin, right? It's like this most incredible, beautiful ceremony that we do, the wrapping of tefillin. And why are our chayalim wrapping? Because it protects them, because it's warrior gear, because it has energy. The combination of X, Y, Z creates a spiritual elevation. And so I believe that we're kind of like witches, and we are able to not in the like Harry Potter sense. We are able to move energy by using Torah and mitzvahs. We are able to manifest things using Torah and mitzvahs. Nothing honky, nothing weird, nothing, like. But
Yeah.
that's what it is. I mean, like we take physical things and we elevate them. Why are we elevating it? Because we want to elevate its energy. Because we want to make its energy glow. We want to raise those sparks everywhere. So it's not something that we're not already doing. We're just calling it something a little different.
It reminds me of the fantastical idea behind what alchemy is, where when you are practicing something and performing some kind of a ritual, like you said, the key word manifest, you're able to manifest something into reality.
Yes.
I had the experience, another thing I started the year ago when I started wearing my kippah every day is I also started wrapping tefillin. I learned how to wrap tefillin in the store that I bought it in. And a
That's
Chabad
amazing.
rabbi,
Yeah.
who helped me purchase
Thank you,
who helped me
Hashem, for Chabad.
I know. Seriously, thank you, Hashem Chabad. But the rabbi in the Mezuzah Center in Pico Robertson taught me how to wrap tefillin in that store, which was really, there's people doing the everyday shopping at the small little store, awkward to avoid. But he performed this mitzvah where he taught me on the spot how to wrap tefillin. And I've been doing
That's
it for over a year now, ever since. And it's been absolutely moving. It's been a beautiful, beautiful journey. And I'm
yes.
grateful for it. But what I wanted to say is, I think again, like these actions, going back to that phrase that I heard a long time ago, which is, act as pray as if there's a God, act as if there is no God. I think what's interesting, that something that you've kind of brought to my attention is that prayer is an action. And it's impossible to do action once you understand that without acknowledging God, which makes that expression kind of a moot point where it doesn't, you know, I think that's actually really cool. I think you've brought that to my attention. And that's actually a really cool teachable moment for me. Wow. Thanks for that, Shoshana. What
Welcome.
are some of, yeah, what are some of the practical, actionable items that people can start with as they leave this podcast?
So simple things like blessing the food that you're eating, raising that, it's not, you don't have to be super orthodox to do that. The blessings are easy, accessible, easy to do. And it really raises the energy of the food that you're consuming, which raises the energy of what you're consuming, like inside of you, which is important too. And that you raise the energies on the outside. So that's simple, super, super easy. Lighting Shabbat candles, a big one that brings a lot of transferring from weekday, which is mundane, to holy in Judaism. That moment is super, super transformative for women. And it's a really beautiful mitzvah. And it's also welcoming. You welcome all of this light into the world when you do it, and the blessing and the moment. And there's just like this portal, so to speak, of open energy that you could just welcome into your home. And like, who doesn't want that, right? Like, so let's do that. Let's welcome more light into our homes, more light into our family. Shalom Bayit is another one, peace in the home. Learning how to have a peaceful inner home is a huge mitzvah and a very base core component of Judaism. And even if you're not married, like with your parents, with your siblings, like finding peace within your community. I believe that the community starts at home, not outside. Your community is not the people that you see once a week at shul, like, or even if you see them every day at, Shafris Mincha Marav, like that is not your core community. Core community is your family, your extended family, and from there on out, like it's like this expanded, and treating that community with love, compassion, and respect, shalom bayit, is a big, huge core component of, and a big mitzvah. Saying Tehillim in any language, it's meditative. I just get lost in these beautiful words and this beautiful relationship that David HaMelech had with Hashem. It's just beautiful. And it's something to aspire to, because I can read it in English and I could say, oh, yes, I want that kind of relationship with Hashem. Like, yes, Hashem, I seek you. I want that relationship with you. And I'm going to do whatever I can to keep growing that. So that also is a huge, just seeking a higher self, looking for the goodness in everything, the Ki Tov Project, just like, it's good, if I'm going through something negative, saying, actually, Hashem has my best interest at heart, and I'm exactly where I should be. And this is meant for my best interest. This is meant for my well-being. That's a big mitzvah. Going through difficulties with a little bit of clarity of the bigger picture. That's a big mitzvah also. And the charity thing, the daily giving, that's, I think, is also a really amazing organization. You're so going to have him on. He's so cool.
Yeah, I gotta
And
have one.
yeah. And then just those little things, those little moments. If you are in the moment and you're with another human being, be with that other human being with compassion, openness, light, love. And that is a huge mitzvah, because that person will leave your space with love and good energy and a smile, and they will transfer that to the next person and vibrate a bit. And then it just goes, like that ripple effect is you cannot even imagine what that does. Like just being kind, and especially being kind to someone that you may not want to be kind to. That is huge, huge. So I would say start there. And gosh, there's so much, but being a good person and being kind to the human beings is number one for me, being in the army of Hashem. If you want to be in the army of Hashem, you have to be nice to other people, period.
Wow. Wow.
Otherwise, no entry. No,
I,
yeah.
I think that's beautiful. I love that. I love that concept. And to lead with chesed, with kindness, as you said, I think that those are some incredible themes that are always important reminders right now, especially whatever infighting that might be existing within your immediate community, whether it's your family or your friends or your people in your shul, whatever it is, to spread kindness no matter what, especially right now. It couldn't be more important.
Yeah.
And, Shoshana, I think you came on and spoke so eloquently about these topics and really helped me understand concept of vibrations, concept of how prayers and actions can be synonymous,
Yeah.
these are incredible things, and you brought up a great organization as well. I want to bring that person on this podcast, so please introduce me. That would be
Yeah.
wonderful.
I will. I will.
Eh, Shoshana, what is the best way for people to reach out to you should they want to connect and experience the Ki Tov Project?
Amazing. So they can DM me and I will be happy to send them some keto stickers. I'm an artist and I work on art that is based in Torah, spirituality, and I can't wait till I finish my collections so I can have a show and invite all of you guys to come see. But in the meantime, DM me on social media and I will send you a keto sticker. And I love being in contact and I love collaborating. So anytime anybody wants to chat about anything positive and good, I'm game.
Beautiful, beautiful. All that information will be displayed in the show notes of this episode. To everyone listening, thank you so much for taking part and learning with me, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you for having me so much. I appreciate it so much.
Shalom.